Hello everyone. Welcome back again to another episode of Tea with Clark. I'm obviously Clark, in case you haven't figured that out by now, and this is Tea. So what I'm going to be doing today is I am going to be taste testing some tea that a anonymous person sent to me in the mail. Shut up, BTI. I'm not 26 minutes late. I'm exactly on time. By the way, I'm only able to use a camera and not a microphone on this new laptop. It only has space for one cord. I have to get a different type of microphone to fit in the upgraded new ports are that they have. So if you guys can't hear me very well, I apologize. I'm having to use the laptop's built-in microphone. Sorry, until I get a new microphone that actually fits this fucker, or until I get a splice port thingy. So again, sorry if the audio quality isn't as good as it has been before. Not that it was ever great. So yeah, so today I'm going to be taste testing Downtown Estate blend of classic Earl Grey black tea. Earl Grey is probably one of my favorite teas out there, just an all-around staple. It's standard black tea, but it also has bergamot oil, just kind of an orange flavor, and vanilla as well. And you can usually tell the quality of an Earl Grey pretty quickly by when you do a simple smell test. If you get that really savory bergamot and vanilla just kind of flowing up and hits you, then it's, one, it's fresh, and two, it's going to be better quality than just your run-of-the-mill box brand at the store. Not to say you can't find good stuff at the store, but you can also find some pretty cheap stuff. Yeah, that smells good. It smells really good. That bergamot is just, oof, one of my favorite smells in tea. If someone smells like it in person, though, it's off-putting. So, we've got our Earl Grey already steeped. And I cheated. I already added sugar to this because with black tea, I like to put sugar. Now, you can have sugar, you can have honey, or you can drink it plain. I personally think that black tea is best with sugar because it brings out all of the flavor. Don't go too much on it, though. Just be careful. And again, I said I cheated. I already added sugar to the entire pot. I don't want to spend time stirring and everything. So, as in the title, I am going to be drinking tea and talking about writing and reading some of my work to you guys today. In the last video, I talked about people asked me to read them some of my work, and yes, I can do that. However, if I was going to be reading, say, whole chapters, it would just be me sitting here just reading a just lengthy chapter. That gets kind of boring. So what I decided to do is I'm going to break this down into a couple sections. One, I'm going to talk about what to write. And two, then I'm going to actually give some readings. And three, I'm going to talk about some writings that I have really, really enjoyed. Spoiler alert, they're right here. In case you can't tell, we're going to talk about comic books, actually. We're going to talk about comic writing. But first, the taste test. And as before the internet says, artisanal garbage tea. It really is. This is the trash tea of the artisanals. It's been so overdone. It's so easy to get this done wrong, but it's not bad. It's a good all-around tea. Like I said, an anonymous person sent this to me in the mail. I love that, just that savory flavor. I'm really big on savory flavors. Yeah, no, anonymous person sent this to me in the mail. I have no idea who it was. They were very kind enough to send it, and were not kind enough to tell me who they are. All I got was, prepare as instructed with milk and sugar, feel intellectual, much thoughts of death. I appreciate that. Not with milk. I do not put milk. Oh, I have a private number. Oh, shit. Someone's calling me. I don't know who that is. I'm not answering. I'm talking to you guys. But yeah, no. So whoever this was that sent this out to me, thank you very much. I don't know how you got my number. Not my number, my address. That's creepy, but I probably gave it to you in a drunken fit of trusting. Oh, sorry, Hector. As soon as I saw you there, I was like, oh shit, that's right. I was supposed to email Hector. My bad. Hey, you found me. You got here in time, so it's all good. I won't accuse you of having good taste. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Never accuse me of anything I'm not guilty of. But again, to the anonymous person that sent this out to me, thank you very much. I greatly appreciated that. I got it in today, and I knew that immediately I had to make a video and say thank you as well. But really, this is what this video is for. I'm just making up an excuse to say thank you and talk about writing. Hey, Kelsey, just joining us. We're having some Earl Grey tea that anonymous people are sending to me in the mail, and it's not poison, so that's good. So, writing. What to write? If you have to sit down and question what you have to write, you're already off on the wrong place. If you're trying to do this as a project, well, that's for school, that's different. But if you love writing and you want to write, just start writing. Doesn't matter if it's good, doesn't matter what it's about. It could just be stupid little doodles. It can be absolute crap. If you love writing, just start writing. You shouldn't have to say, oh, I want to write this novel or this paper or this amazing poem. Just start, and eventually it'll happen. And eventually you'll find out what you like to write and or what you're good at writing as well. You'll find your strengths, your weaknesses, all of that. Hector, where's Deep? Probably locked in the sex dungeon. He's at work, unfortunately, right now. He'll come back to the sex dungeon tonight. We're on opposite shifts now. So he works from 2 to 10:30, and I work from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. It's also why I'm able to do these hangouts now during daylight hours. It's gorgeous. It's nice. But yeah, did any of you guys see the eclipse? I didn't. I was asleep. I don't think I missed much. It's an eclipse. I can't wait to see Carvel Clarkus narrating his work. Yeah. It's bad. I'm actually going to read you guys a couple of my earlier works as well to show you how bad I used to be. It's bad. So, if everyone is ready, I was going to talk to you guys about something else. Oh, yeah. So, writing. I like to keep all of my loose writings that I haven't really done anything with in a folder. So I have a lot of short stories. I got story ideas just kind of sitting around. It's not the best filing system, but it's at least filed. Yeah. A lot of my short stories I put in here, stuff that I went to school with, did papers on. Some of them I like, some of them I don't. I recommend you get a better filing system than just one giant ass folder that you put all your stories in. It'd be worse. Yeah. Then for like my book that I'm writing, I actually have all of this. All of this right now is just my background stuff for my book. Why am I jealous? Well, Luke, if you actually got to read your book, just a few chapters. I've got chapter 1 and 2 actually here that I've completed. I'm actually completed chapter 3 as well, and I'm now working on chapter 4 of the book. Oh my gosh, yes, Hector, there is so much midget porn in my book. I really need to cut some of that out. It's just getting excessive now. Look, if you would like to be an alpha reader of mine, I can always use more alpha readers. I'll need your email address or your regular address. I mean, if you want to snail mail, I can do it that way. So yeah, I can give you guys a choice. If you guys can respond fast enough, I can read you guys some of the poetry that I used to write and still write. Oh gosh. Oh dear. Yes, no. Oof. Not sure if I want that. Or I can read you guys some short stories, some flash fiction. Yeah, I'm gonna start with some of the worst stuff because I'm actually kind of proud of this flash fiction. So let's embarrass ourselves with some writings from when I was like 13. Ooh, nope, I'm not doing that one. I don't even know if I don't think I can do this. All right, here we go. Here's a poem. I can do it. I'll do a poem first, then I'll read you some flash fiction, then I'll read you some of my later poetry. Oh God, I actually tried writing a rap song. All right, I'm gonna embarrass myself. I'm gonna read you a 13-year-old boy from Montana's version of a rap song. Yes, I'm trying to lower your expectations, Luke. I'm absolutely trying to get your expectations lower. Okay, here we go. This is called Systematic Shutdown. Systematic shutdown, failing in this rundown. I'm busting out of town. It might be bad, but I found my feet are in the ground. I'm too scared to run now. Don't even ask me how. I ain't got the power. This is not my hour. She's too good for me. This is just a dream. Don't wake me up to say what's up. Don't want to know. I gotta flow. Need time to grow, or I'll blow up in your face. This is a race. There's no disgrace. This is my systematic shutdown, failing in this rundown. Woo! Oh, that was painful. Oh, ooh, yeah. I'm not a rapper at all. And 13 years old, I thought I could be one. Nope, absolutely not. So we're gonna move on from that. Ooh, I had like 2 or 3 songs. It was just bad. I was in this phase where I was listening to a lot of Eminem and 3 6 Mafia. I was like, I can rap. I can totally rap. It's just about rhyming. No, it's not. Oh, it's terrible. So let's get that taste out of our mouth. Let's read something else. All right. I'm gonna read you a poem that I wrote about going to school. And I was in class goofing around, and this is just kind of an on-the-fly thing that I was talking with some friends in my writing class, and it's like, I'm just going to write a poem. So this is called Learn Me Some Words. Open doors, the herd comes in. Closed doors, the herd keeps coming. Up flights of stairs and down again, never ceasing come sun or rain. Sit down, shut up, and open books. Pop the skull open and fill it up. God is good, God is dead. Lectures, lectures, they hurt my head. Math, English, and geometry. Language, art, and philosophy. What's your poison? What's your choice? Don't speak up, but give us your voice. Talk of the future, what we'll do. Plans we have made, glorious plans. When will I use this? Not ever, I think. Who even cares about the next missing link? Sinners and saints parade by my porch. Skanks and strippers showing their wares. Pimps and gangstas demanding attention. Only thing lacking is knowledge retention. Papers and papers test me no more. Finals and projects all due yesterday. Give me more coffee, the monster it makes. Obsessed over grades. I'm getting the shakes. So, there you go. That's a little difference between my earlier writing and my later writing. One of them was actually, I was very serious about my writing, and then I learned to actually just relax, let go, and have fun, and just stop taking everything so seriously. You were a Christian back then, I take it. When I wrote that one, no. I do tend to still like to use a lot of religious symbolism, though, in my writing. I find that it's very apt for what I want to get the message across and the idea and stuff. When I wrote that rap song, yes, I was Christian. But when I wrote like that latest one, no, I wasn't anymore. But yeah, no, I'm still very I like religious symbolism, really from the power that it can have over people and the depth of emotion that it can feel. Religion's had several thousand years to really perfect pushing the emotional buttons of people, and I'm okay with totally using that. I'm going to appropriate that power that it has and use that to push an emotional resonance with a person. So that's why I do that. Former Christians are strange people. Oh my God, yes, we are. So I'm now going to read to you guys a flash fiction. Flash fiction is typically short fiction that's about 500 words or less. You're trying to write a story as densely and as compactly as possible. Coincidentally, this was done on a bet, and I was talking with my teacher. We're talking about persons, first, second, and third person, saying that most people write in first and third person. I rode to the store, he rode to the store. It's very difficult for someone to write in second person. You rode to the store. So me, being the arrogant prick that I am, said, well, I can write a story in second person. My teacher called me on my bullshit and said, fine, write one by the end of class and I'll give you an A for the day. I said, all right, cool. And he's like, well, I'm going to judge it. I was like, I want the class to judge it because, again, I'm an arrogant prick. I said, I'll read it in front of the class and I'll let them decide whether I get the A or not. And he said, deal. And then I was terrified and realized, oh, shit, I just opened my big mouth. I need to actually write a fucking story. So I did in class. And this is The Minstrel Boys. You hear the shrill whistle of the bombs falling. They take forever, like a banshee calling your name or for one of your brothers. It matters not. Whomever they call, nothing stops them. You huddle in the mud. The water, black and oily, soaks your feet. They haven't been dry in weeks, and you are sure something is growing on them. You can hear your sergeant hollering something, charge, or is it mama? Thompson, the grunt beside you, keeps gripping and twisting at the wooden stock on his rifle. His eyes are wide. You keep wondering that they don't pop out of his head. You wonder if your own eyes look that way. A whistle and a thud. You worm your way deeper into the mud, waiting for the explosion to follow. When it roars, it's closer than the last one, and more slop is shoveled into your hand-dug grave. If you go out there, you will die. You know this. The last rally and charge took out half your platoon. You can still hear them moaning and crying a few yards away. You want to look up and still see how many are still in one piece. The rat-tap-tap of the machine guns has flared up, only to be drowned out by the earth-trembling roars of mortar shells. Now, all there was to be heard were screams, gunfire, and a ringing in your ears. You're sure that last shell knocked a few fillings loose. When you touch your ear, it comes back slick and dark. In this light, it could be blood. It could be mud. Hell, it could be piss and you wouldn't know it. You risk a glance over to Thompson to ask him what he thinks it might be. You see that he's pissed himself. Again. No. You realize you took some shrapnel on the groin, and the damn fool is too scared to notice. Hell, you're scared too. You're shaking uncontrollably, your hands fumbling with your rifle when the bugle sounds. Fixed bayonets. Charge. 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 It stops. Everything. Time, fear, sounds. Everything just stops. You grip the heavy rifle with one hand and flourish out the 1.5-foot blade, your eyes mesmerized by its stark beauty. This will be personal. This will be close. This is it. You stand up. The rat-tap-tap turns up again as you look out over the black and gray desolation. You see the line of the dead crawling from their graves, skeletal faces and gaunt frames in contrast to burning eyes. Your own eyes water as you hear a bagpipe start up, The Minstrel Boy. You breathe in. The sun is rising. There you go. That is The Minstrel Boys. one of my favorite pieces of work that I've done. I actually put it up on my channel a little while ago. I put some music behind it. Got demonetized, but apparently I used copyright music. So if you want to actually hear that piece again, I do have a video somewhere. I don't know why I'm pointing that way. Somewhere on my channel that you guys can go and listen to it there. I actually took some time to try to sound it out a little bit better, read it. So there's that. Hector says, fucking A, Clark, much more serious, much easier to mentally visualize. I can relate to this particular story because I'm a prepper, huge into guns, getting gang wars, been shot twice. Stop getting shot, man. Once is understandable, twice is unforgivable. But thank you, I appreciate that. It's being a writer, you put a lot of your own experiences into your characters' experiences. And whereas I have never experienced World War I trench warfare, which is what that was about, I was trying to put the emotion that you'll feel in conflict and in combat into that story. And if you can imbue your stories with that emotion and the reader can pick up on it, then they'll forgive the little things like a Thompson machine gun. I don't actually think they had Thompson machine guns in the trenches in World War I. I have no idea on that. I just made that shit up. I might be right, but I also could be wrong. BTI, Hector's always 9 meals away from the end of the world. Well, that's about what, 3 days of eating? Yeah. Hector says 1927, so no. Thank you. Yeah, right. So there you go. I mean, I made a historical error in that writing. But if you put the emotion in, most readers, probably not Luke because he's an asshole, will be willing to forgive that error. No Tommy guns. Yeah. So there's that. So that's some of the writing, the short fiction that I like to do as well. I don't know. Maybe my next video I'll actually read an entire short story to you guys. They're longer though. I mean, they're probably anywhere from about 1,000 to 4,000 words. So that can take a little bit long. I mean, this was 400 and something words. I think about 400 to 500 words per page. I've got several thousand words. It could take a while. So yeah, you could have said nugget. Still can't. So there's that. I'll read you guys one of my poems, my later poems that I like. I've got two that I enjoy a lot more. So the interesting thing about poetry as well, before I get into this, is poetry is a great way of expressing your emotional state at the time. Some of my poems are happy, some of them are sad, and some of them are just bitter and angry. So when I got back from Cuba in 2010, I had severe PTSD. And it was very, very difficult to regulate my emotions. And one of the things that did help actually was my writing and being able to get my emotions out into poetry, into stories, even just writing down just how I felt. That was really helpful. Who is your favorite authors? Ooh, my favorite authors. That's easily Terry Pratchett for fantasy comedy. The man is brilliant. His satire. I don't think there's a single better author in the entire world than that guy. He blows all of them away. The crafting that goes into those stories. They're not just funny stories. They are also deeply personal views of the world, biting, just absolute damning condemnations of society and why we do things so stupidly. That's impressive. Terry Pratchett is probably my favorite author of all time, and I was very sad when he died. Next up would probably be Peter F. Hamilton for science fiction. The man does sci-fi opera, political sci-fi, just amazingly well. He's just impressive. Him and David Weber as well. David Weber is, the man's a machine. He just cranks out like 1,000 books a year. It's like every year he's putting out 5 books. And I love that. It's amazing, but I can't keep up with all the shit that he's putting out. And a lot of his stuff gets kind of repetitive after a while. Probably another one of my favorite authors would be Brandon Sanderson. He did the Mistborn series. He finished up the Wheel of Time. And his book, The Way of Kings, is gorgeous. I love the way he writes. I love his descriptions. I love his world building. It's amazing. Speaking of which, I actually just read The Wheel of Time for the first one, the first book of Wheel of Time for the first time ever. I've never read them at all. And honestly, I couldn't stand the book. I hated it. It was just mind-numbingly boring. It was terrible. Luke says, mine are Harold Schlechter, Cormac McCarthy, and the obligatory Douglas Adams. Douglas Adams definitely in there. The guy's brilliant, and he's another one like Terry Pratchett, where that sense of humor, that biting, just a dart into the center of society. I wish I could write that well, and I can't. They're so polished in their craft. They've been working on it for so long, and it really is a craft. It's not just a talent. They've worked for years to get to that level of perfection, and it's frankly impressive. So I'm going to read one more nice poem, and we'll talk a little bit about comic books and authors, because this is a good segue, actually. So this one is called Trees. I am the willow weeping alone, down by the brook, nuzzled in close. Long tendrils I drape, burdened down low. The wind cannot break me as I only bend. This you well know, this you well know. I am the oak, proud mightiest old oak. Straight do I stand, tall and aloof. Worshipped of old, revered even now. Dark and forbidding, bright polish remakes. Among other trees I stand out from all. Before me all others must wither or bow. I am the pine, sharp, sassy, and tame. Winter ne'er bothers my foliage to brown. Under my boughs small creatures find comfort. From my pine cones come critters for plunder. Christmas is dull until I light up the night. Every child adores me with wild, raw wonder. There you go. I wrote that one for my kids. I started writing a poem just like, you know what, sometimes you have to write something just cute or kind of nursery rhyme style. So that was for my kids. That's my writing. Let's talk about other people's writing. Way more interesting than my own writing. Let's talk my favorite comic books. Now, a lot of people that aren't into comic books will be like, comic books? That's not writing, but really it is. So I've got 4 comics here that I think are probably some of the best example of art, written art and graphic art, merged together into a beautiful, beautiful story. So 2 of them are Superman. I'm a bit of a Superman fan, if you can't tell. And I've got Batman the Killing Joke and Watchmen. These are both written by Alan Moore, who, if you guys don't know, is amazing. He's an amazing writer. Just incredible. I've got Superman American Alien, written by Max Landis. His dad was John Landis, the director. And then I've got All-Star Superman, written by Grant Morrison. I believe it's written by Grant Morrison. Illustrated, yeah, written by Grant Morrison. Penciled by Frank Whiteley. So, out of these books, Writing comics is extremely difficult, and there's several ways to go about it. You can do the All-Star Superman, and there's very little exposition. Almost entirely, the whole story is told through speech bubbles. I mean, there's just hardly ever a chance where they sit down and explain what's going on other than through speech bubbles. Hey, Clark, damn, I missed the reading. It wasn't that good. You didn't miss much. But I might read some newer poetry later. Right now, I'm talking about why comics, graphic novels are actually an important part of our American literature. So you've got the All-Star Superman, which again is a phenomenal story of dying. Superman is dying essentially in this thing. And like, what do you do as you die? Like, how do you want your legacy to be thought of? And I love the idea of that. I like how it's portrayed. I like how the people around him all deal with Superman dying in a way. And it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Then you have Superman, American Alien, by Max Landis. I love this. This is amazing. This one uses a lot of less speech bubbles and, well, a lot more visual in the sense. There's more panels that just don't have anything being said in them. Like every 1, 2, 3, like 4 out of the panels, they don't have anything. They just have facial expressions. So this was relying a lot more on the art. And yes, the way that the story is written, they have different artists read each story. Then you have places where there's like writing behind here to kind of get you an idea of the characters. Then comes 2 of my favorite stories of all time. Well, I don't know about Watchmen yet. I just actually bought Watchmen. So The Killing Joke. This is in my mind the greatest Batman story ever made, and the greatest Joker story ever made. So this one, there's not a lot of talking. It's hard to describe how beautiful this comic is. Tell you what, just look at that for a second. There's really no talking involved. None. There's just walking, and you just see Batman walking up, and you see people's reactions to it. You see their faces and how they feel about this. So when you actually do start talking, it puts a weight to the characters. The characters are allowed to breathe. They don't have to immediately start talking and spilling exposition out like they do in All-Star Superman. And not everything is explained. You got flashbacks that go on that the Joker talks about. It's brutal too. I mean, you've got the famous Barbara Gordon, spoiler alert by the way, gets shot by the Joker in the stomach. And then it's heavily implied that he rapes her, which is pretty terrible. And it's dark. And the reason that this is impressive for stories. Sorry, I started losing myself there for a second. I'm just ignoring you guys. The reason this is impressive as a story is because of where this allows comics to go. It allowed comics to say, we don't have to just be bright and airy. Now, the problem that I have with stuff like this is that too many people try to be the Killing Joke, and too many comics are trying to be the Killing Joke, and not realizing that you can go out and expand into things like the Killing Joke, and you can explore those areas. You don't have to be that. People thought that they loved the Killing Joke so much because it was so dark and edgy and gritty and graphic. What they didn't realize is that's not why people like it. They didn't like it because it was graphic and it was brutal and it was terrible. They liked it because it was well written. And that's something you don't see as much in comics today. But again, it's written by Alan Moore, who wrote probably one of the definitive comic book of all time. And I mean, they say on the back, genius, a classic, groundbreaking, remarkable, a landmark work. No collection should be without it, which is why I finally bought it. This book is interesting because it's different from comics in the traditional sense, where you've got your regular panels of your guys talking, but they break it up. So interspersed throughout this book, they just have excerpts of just writing of people that come from this world that they're talking about their experiences. That's really cool. Then they have also, there's this kind of a meta story going on in these panels where this kid is reading a comic book, and he's reading a comic book about pirates written by this character who later on plays kind of an important role in the comic. And the meta story that the kid's reading that's commenting on not only the comic but on society itself, it's like 3 layers of writing. That's impressive. That is art. Of course, the art itself is just gorgeous in here. And again, like you'll have just in the middle of it, there'll be like a story or a newspaper clipping or reprinted from such and such. Really cool. It's pretty standard, just cut and paste, like this is how it happened. Linear when it's doing the story. I mean, it's just square after square after square after square. Very, very deceiving. Because, let me skip towards the back a little bit. When you start getting towards the back, they're like, oh yes, small panels, small panels, small panels. All of a sudden, boom, larger panels. They're using that to lure you into a sense of kind of like, this is an intimate story, and then they just blow it out at you. Without even realizing what's going on, you're drawn into it. And again, the artwork is good. It's not the greatest artwork in the world. It's not just like, oh my gosh, it's so phenomenal. But it is so detailed. There's so much going on in these panels that it really gives you time to look at the story and absorb multiple layers of the story, which is impressive. And then, of course, you have at the very end, spoiler alert, they just, no words, just carnage. They don't need to tell you how bad it is. They show you all of the deaths. And it's multi-race. So that is some example of really good writing in comics. BTI says, I was only interested in comics because I wanted to be a graphic artist, but that dream died with my degenerating vision. Oh, that's sad. So who's my favorite comic book artist? Oof. You know, I don't think I have a favorite artist because I don't know enough about the artists. I'm a writer, so I tend to look more at the story than at the drawings. For me, the art very rarely catches my attention, or I'm like, wow, that is so amazing. It's adequate enough to get the story done. If it's not told well enough, it's going to lose me. And obviously, if it's a bad artist, it's going to take me out of the story. But it's really not something that bothers me. I know who's one of the guys that does this in All-Star Superman. I really liked him, his style. Who is this? Jay Lee and June Chung. Kind of a watercolor appearance to it that I really liked. I like that one. Jim Lee and Joe Medjugorje. Nice. But again, I don't know I don't know artists very well, so I can't say on that one. Ooh, look at that, 8:10. We've been going on for 40 minutes. And the tea is still good. So that's my thought on writing. I read you guys a couple of my excerpts and talking about writing in general. Do you guys have any questions, or would you like me to read some more of my later writings? Oh, I don't know about some of these. Some of these are dark. Oh yeah, that's fucked up. I have some fucked up poems. Junji Ito, more manga, but that's great line above on McFarlane. Jim. Yeah, Todd McFarlane's not bad. Not bad at all. So, that's really good tea, by the way. Again, so whoever sent this tea out, thank you. I wish I could actually know who it was so I could thank him by name, but I suppose if you want to remain anonymous, I appreciate it. Cheers. I'm going to read you guys a couple of my stuff from when I had PTSD. Kind of give you an idea of just the emotions that someone can feel. And then I'm probably going to end the stream after that. So if you guys have any requests or if you guys have any questions for me, throw them in the chat, and I will read them after I'm done reading you guys. One, two, three. I've got 3 poems for you guys that I want to read. All right. This one's called Hush Little Baby. I warned you not to cross me, comes the devil for his dues. Feel my wrath descending down. The storm is coming for you. Hush, little baby, don't you cry. Daddy ain't here to wipe your tears. I'm the boogeyman, little boys and girls. I'm your worst dream, the sum of your fears. Shiver and shake, tremble and quake as you hear me coming for you. Lightning flashes within my eyes, and I howl my hate of you. Feel these fingers round your throat as your life is choked away. Your dying breath gurgles its last. This is the last you hear me say. Hush, little baby, don't you cry. Daddy ain't here to watch you die. I'm the boogeyman, the one who waits, and now you're dead, the one I hate. So I was in a dark place when I wrote that one. A little angry, and that was a way to express the anger. Don't feel that way anymore, but it's still kind of fun to read. This one is called War Torn. Can you kill a man with no guilt? Can you feed a famine with no bread? Are you one to watch your freedom wilt? There's no place for pity when everyone is dead. Feel my blood wash your hands. This life was just a waste. Watch the fires rape this land. How does mindless slaughter taste? Burn the world, every goddamn tree. Burn the world, ain't no one free. Burn, burn every fucking thing. It's what you do. Why wait for me? I remember that I was feeling kind of just tired when I wrote that one. Just like, fuck it, I'm tired of it. I don't care. I just want the world to burn. I remember that feeling. Every once in a while, I still get that feeling. Ooh. All right. This one I started writing when I started actually thinking about politics. I was very apolitical up until probably about maybe 23 or 24. Just did not give a shit about politics. And then after my military experience, I started thinking about it and just started getting pissed off. This is called Generation Kill. There used to be this TV show called Generation Kill, and I saw one episode of it, and it was all right, but I really liked that name, Generation Kill. It just summed it up so well. So, as all writers do, I borrowed that title. I'm a red-blooded, card-carrying member of Generation Kill. Cocaine and whiskey don't do it anymore. The things that get me off are Red Bull and war. I'm Generation Kill, you best respect. I'm the Reaper Man and here to collect. I am your daughter, I'm your son, and the only way I know is by this gun. This ain't my fight, my parents' war. I've seen death, great bloody gore. I'm Generation Kill, the monster that you made, looking for love every time I get laid. You say you never wanted this up there on Capitol Hill. Look me in the eyes when you tell me your lies. I'm Generation Killer of the wise. I'm not some aberration of my generation. I am made as you made me, molded from clay. I'm a child no more will I play. I'm Generation Kill. Kill my generation. Generation Kill. There you go. That's some of my writing and poetry. So Luna says, I'm glad you're reading your poems. I have a question. How does one get over fear of reading poems in public? Fuck if I know. I'm still terrified. This is easy. All I have to imagine is that you don't actually exist and that there's just a camera here. I mean, I see people writing, but that's just totally a coincidence. I mean, there's really no one here. I'm speaking to a camera. That's pretty easy. It's actually harder for me to act natural and to remember that you're here. Like I started getting lost in the comic books. I could just sit here for hours, drink tea, and read comics in front of you guys and would not give a shit. Speaking in public's different, though. I don't have a good answer for that. I might suggest, maybe, try and have a bit of an ego. Try and just be like, I'm fucking amazing. This poem is fucking amazing. This writing's fucking amazing. And you guys are lucky to be here to hear my melodious voice smoothly serenading your ears with this genius work. That might help. I've heard other people say that they try and boost their own ego before they go out so they don't get stage fright. I have no idea if that works. I'm a showman by nature. I'm always terrified, and when I get scared, I put on more of a show, so I get more flamboyant to make up for the fact that I am like screaming inside. But that's me. Just go for it, I would say. Practice in front of a mirror. Talk to your friends about it. Read in front of your friends. Do stuff like this. That might help. BTI says, your PTSD turned into a goth kid. Totally did. Oh my gosh. I should have started wearing black. But yeah, I was very, also total downer. A request. Perhaps Ted Hughes' love song. I want to record reading that. I wish you'd read mine. I'm too nervous, and I think the end is weird, kind of. Thank you for reading. Really inspirational. Blackheart. Awesome. Sure, if you want me to read anything of yours, absolutely send it my way. I'd love to read that. I'm always down to hear other people's writings. Of course. But my esteem is shit, but I will try. Thank you. I will try to read to friends. If you have a hard time, Luna, maybe try recording yourself reading and then watch it and then critique yourself and then try it again, re-record and try and fix what you did. And that might help you find the things that you don't like about the way you read or the way you do, and you can actually critique yourself. That way, one, the worst judge of us is always ourselves. We are our own worst critics. 99% of the things that we think about ourselves, no one else thinks about. No one else sees the spot that they have on their eye. No one else sees like the little bit of flub that we're gaining around our belly. Totally not sexy anymore. No one sees that. No one sees that we've noticed our hairlines receding. We're getting gray hairs. We're getting old, or we can't see as well, or we stumble or falter a little bit. No one sees that except for us when we critique ourselves. So if you try recording yourself and then critiquing your own videos, and then trying to fix that and practice. By the time that you do actually speak in front of someone else, you'll probably be extremely polished and poised when you do speak to someone. If it helps. I mean, I don't know, just a suggestion. Your armband must be a leftover from those goth days. It's not an armband. It's a coolness factor. Yeah, no, I've always liked leather bracelets. It's my thing. I like leather. But yeah, so I'm going to close this video down. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. If you guys want to, if you guys are interested, I can post a link to join if you guys want to talk, because I'm going to be up for a little bit longer. I don't even know how to do this, actually. Can I do this? Can I post this in the chat? Let's see. Say something. Control V. Oh, shit, look at that. There you go. So if you guys want to come in and join and chat, you guys are welcome to. I'm going to be up for a little bit longer, working on some shit, having tea. You guys are welcome to join me. Next time I do this video, probably next week or so sometime, maybe I'll actually sit down and read you a little bit about how my book is going. So, as always though, thank you for joining and enjoy your tea.